Hello, everybody. This is Brett Davis coming to you from Attorney King's studio, of course, in beautiful Coronado. I'm very honored today to have somebody that has served our country, and it's an honor to have you here, sir, today. I'm going to go by the name Chuck, who's with the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument Fund. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the monument.
So you were in
the
the Navy for how long?
About 27 years.
27 years. It's just nobody stays with jobs that long anymore, do they?
They don't. But I had the type of job that it was easy to stay with.
Uh-huh.
It was a great opportunity, and I often tell people that my job was like their vacations.
I don't think everybody would agree with you on that. You loved what you did.
I had a great time doing what I did, and I did love it. Running down the beach, jumping out of airplanes, swimming in the ocean. What more could you want in life?
So tell us a little bit about what you did in the Navy. Can you talk about that? Or
yeah, sure. Lots of things. Okay. I ran down the beach. I jumped out of airplanes, and I swam in the ocean.
Ever fire a rifle?
I fired many different types of rifles. When I was in Vietnam, I had a very unique weapon system called the Stoner 63 Alpha. We used to call it our laser beam. It would fire up to 1,000 rounds per minute.
What?
And if you
what year was this?
This was 1969, 1970.
We had that type of technology for weapons back then?
We had that type of technology long before that, but it was the first time that the U.S. deployed a system like that. As a matter of fact, much of the U.S. Organizations in the military actually refused to carry the system because it was so difficult to keep clean, or so they said. When soldiers went in the field, or airmen or sailors, they didn't always have the opportunity to keep their weapons as clean as they could have. And it causes some problems with the M16, particularly in the beginnings. And it also caused a great many problems with the Stoner 63 Alpha. The Marine Corps tried it out, the Army tried it out, and they turned it down just because you had to keep it too much cleaner than regular weapons. And we seem to find a way to do that.
1,000 rounds a minute.
It was a buzz as those.
I have never heard of any type of technology back that far. It almost sounds like modern times.
Well, it is. It was modern for the time. It was developed in the early 60s, and it was deployed in the mid to late 60s to Vietnam with Navy SEALs. There were a couple of Marine Corps units that took it into the field, and a couple of Army units that took it in the field, but they didn't find that very much success with it. And because it required a lot of maintenance, they didn't feel they could spend the time on it, so they turned the system down. We, on the other hand, were kind of specialized. We had specialized missions.
You mean Navy SEALs?
Correct. And we had locations that we could get back to on a regular basis, so that we didn't have to spend a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks in the field like many Marine Corps or Army units.
So, one of the reasons, give us an idea why it's important for us not to forget. And I know why, but maybe for the audience, it's just, tuning in. Why is it important to have a Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument?
The easiest way to say that is that Memorial Day is not just a single day for the families of those who lost their lives. Memorial Day is every day. Every day they get up in the morning, those blinders open up, they look in the mirror, and they think about their loved ones once again. So they go through the same emotions and the same issues every single day of their lives. So Memorial Day really falls short of helping the families of those who lost their lives.
So what do you envision for this monument? What are your visions, and what are you thinking about? And you've been thinking about this for how long?
Well, I've been working on it for over 8 years. I've been a board member for over 7 years, and I would like to modernize the monument, and I would like to make it more centric to today's forces. And to do that, you have to make sure that you're speaking to the people who utilize the weapons and the boats that are similar to those that are in the monument. And my vision is to bring a Vietnam era boat that was in direct support of Navy SEALs and UDT, operated by sailors from the Boat Support Unit 1 and the Mobile Training Teams 1, 2, and 3 of Vietnam. And the reason for that is that the Special Warfare Combatant Craft Crewman School graduate at that site every class. I would like to put a boat on that monument that is in direct line to the people who were the forebears of today's SWCS. And to do that, I need to put a Vietnam era boat that it was directly in support of what is now Naval Special Warfare, but what was SEAL Team and UDT back in the late 60s and early 70s. The boats that are on the monument now were operated by sailors who were on regular Navy patrols, but they also supported SEALs and UDT, and some Boat Support Unit 1 members operated some of those craft. And I would like to make it more centric to naval special warfare, because the Navy, after every war that they are in, forgets that small boats are key to every single engagement, except those that are done out in blue water. And in today's world, everything goes on in shallow water. But because of budget cuts, because of training issues, the Navy has to focus where they make their money, where they take care of the nation in the greatest way, or in the most obvious ways for the nation. Operations in shallow water, despite the fact that they take place every single day of the year in 183 different nations, is not known by most of the public. The public sees F-35s. The public sees nuclear aircraft carriers. The public sees nuclear submarines, but they don't see people in small boats. They don't see SEALs going across the beach, despite the fact that there has been a heck of a lot of publicity about SEALs in television shows, in movies, in all kinds of things. But those are fictional characters. Those are fictional activities, albeit the ideas for those activities were taken from some advisors to those movies who may have been SEALs, who may have been associated with SEALs, but they are not the day-to-day activity that people see and hear about.
So San Diego, of course, is a perfect place to do something like this, just because of the history we have with the SEALs. And of course, it's just the right thing to do, correct?
Not only Navy SEALs, but whenever the nation gets into trouble and they need shallow water sailors, the two main places that those sailors are trained are in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and San Diego. And for time immemorial, well, at least back to the First World War, whenever people had to train shallow water sailors, it was near to San Diego and it was near to Norfolk.
So you have a passion for, I mean, it's nice to be able to see and talk to somebody that has been doing what you've been doing for so many years and is still passionate about it. That's a very rare quality nowadays.
Well, it's not just about me.
I know it's not. I know it's not, but I know it's not.
It's not just my ideas. As I mentioned in our earlier talks, I still have contact with the families of 3 people who were killed in my first platoon on June 23rd, 1970. I speak to them on a week-to-week basis. I speak to members of families who were in Boat Support Unit 1 during Vietnam at least every 2 weeks, and oftentimes more often. One of the people who was on the board of directors and who actually recruited me to be a board member for the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument was a guy who was integral to my career in naval special warfare and as a SEAL. When I came to San Diego off the aircraft carrier that I was on in Long Beach, try out for training, I could not make the requisite time for the swim. I was given an opportunity by the director of training either to go back to my ship or to go to the pool and see if I could improve my swimming to the point where I could make the next training class. And I told the director there was no question there. I was going to the pool.
How long did it take?
Well, it took me about 4 weeks to knock 3 minutes off my swim time.
That's amazing.
But it wasn't me. It was a first class bosun mate who had just returned from Vietnam and had become a swim instructor at the pool there on base. He taught me how to glide in the water, how to save my strength, and how to become faster.
How interesting.
He knocked 3 minutes off my swim time.
It's amazing.
47 years later, I'm sitting at a bench, and this former senior chief petty officer is interviewing me for a job as a director on the board for the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument. And I tell him my story of how I came to San Diego. And he said, well, who was that guy who helped you with your swimming? And I told him, I said, I was an E3, an airman at the time. I wasn't even qualified to ask the guy's name. And Carl sat there and told me that he was that guy. I would never have known it.
Had he changed that much?
47 years.
Well, some people looked,
later.
I mean, people saw you, probably recognize you.
I don't know.
You probably haven't changed that much.
Thank you for that. But
I'm being honest. I mean, some people age, and then I've seen people from high school I haven't seen in a while, and I'll walk right by them. Other people look exactly the same. I guess it depends on the person.
Well, I didn't have this mustache at that time.
That's a cool mustache. That's a Tombstone mustache. That belongs in Tombstone.
Well, it disturbed my wife so much that I had to cut about 4 inches off of it. So,
wives don't like that, do they?
No, they don't like that. Anyway, Carl Fletcher was a great guy. He passed away about 1.5 years ago.
God bless him.
And he was an absolute great guy. He was a great swim instructor at the time. He was a great boatman, and he was a great waterman. And I would not be sitting here today were it not for Carl Fletcher. So he is very much responsible for allowing me to visualize and do what I was allowed to do in life. So I could have gone right back to that aircraft carrier. I would have been just fine doing that. I had a great job. I was only going to spend 2 years in the Navy. And I was about 1.5 years into that. And I started having too much fun. And Carl's responsible for that. And that's why I tell people I'm from Detroit. And that's why I'm not in Detroit.
You probably got a lot of your training from Detroit.
I received a little bit of my training.
Detroit's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough place.
Detroit's a pretty tough place. And it always has been a pretty tough place.
I know that. So how can we help you with what you're trying to do? What can we do?
What I'm trying to do by talking to you is to...
Or anybody out there that maybe wants to help.
Let people know what the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument is. And that's why I have this 23-page brief right here that I'll be happy to share with you. And I have given that brief at the Optimist, the Lions, and a number of other places.
Oh, you're an optimist.
I have worked with the Optimists on a number of different projects. And the lady sitting across from me right there has provided a number of volunteers from the Optimists to help me at the monument.
Who's that individual?
This young lady right over here.
Okay. So there's definitely, do you need volunteers?
We need volunteers.
Okay.
One of my projects could cost me as much as $500,000
Okay.
to move a boat off the site to another location, to cut some metal off of it, weld some metal back to it, and bring it back. It might not cost that much. There may be other ways to do it, but by getting word out to people, teaching them about what I'm doing, which Cynthia has helped me to do, and to get to the Optimists. I have spoken to many local businesses, but not in the last 2 years because I've been kind of restricted on my ability to do that. I'm working for the real Admiral now, my wife, and as soon as I get through with my latest job, then I can get back into my community outreach program. And I'm confident that there are people in San Diego and throughout the country who would like to help with this project once they learn more about it. And they learn that the people who are most tuned in to what the monument stands for and the objects on the site, they'll realize that it's an important idea and object and well worth keeping in good shape. As a matter of fact, the current base commander and the past two base commanders at Naval Base Coronado have mentioned that that site is the nicest looking piece of property under their purview. And we invite each one of the new commanders to come back and visit. And as a matter of fact, I spoke to representatives from the base and from Navy Region Southwest, who is responsible for all property management in San Diego, about my aims and about how to keep the monument in good shape. And we've got about 24 people in our group who currently maintain the site and act as board members for the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument.
Do you have a website that people can go to if they want to get more information?
Yes, we do. It is VUMMF.org.
Yeah, it's at the very bottom of the screen if everybody's watching, or if you're cooking and listening to the show and you're not actually watching it, you can go back, of course, and watch, but I thought I would just throw that out there anyway.
And that stands for the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument Fund. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So if people have tax issues, they can send us a donation, and there is an address on the site as well. They can mail donations to, or they can visit the site, and they can also see our newsletters from the site, or they can visit the Naval Amphibious Base. The problem with that is that it is on Navy property, and if you do not have base access, you will need an escort. And if you don't mind putting out my telephone number, people may call me, and I will either escort them or I will find them an escort to take them to the monument. And I'm sure that they will enjoy going inside the boats, particularly those people who have been in the Navy or they have relatives who were in the Navy during the Vietnam era.
Well, Chuck, first of all, I'm honored that you're here, and I appreciate your service, and it's an honor to meet you and know you, and I appreciate you.
Well, I have to acknowledge Cynthia Kashuzek.
Well, yeah. So the young lady you're talking about earlier is Cynthia Salanista. So thank you, Cynthia, for putting this together, and we'd love to see how we can dig in and kind of like find out how we can help you more.
Well, I Really appreciate that. And I know the other members of our board and our organization who keep the monument up appreciate the effort and the opportunity to let people know what we're doing.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Look forward to doing more things possibly. And thank you again for everything.
Thank you for the opportunity, Brad. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate you. Okay, everybody, let's get behind Chuck and let's help him with the Vietnam Unit Memorial Monument Fund. Let's see what we can do. The website is on the site as we're chatting and talking right now. And of course, I like to thank my sponsors because I wouldn't be here without them. I really wouldn't be here because of my wife, because she's really the boss. But I'd like to thank Attorney King for being so gracious and always doing so much wonderful things in the community. Saquon Casino and Resort, Cody Martinez. Thank you for everything you do and your partnership, and I appreciate everything that we're doing and going to do in the near future. And of course, one of my favorite haunts to go to, Nicky Rotten's on the corner for a good beer and a good burger. It's not a bad place to go and just chill a little bit. And I'd like to also thank IB Fitness over in Imperial Beach, Wilsey Asset Management, also for what they do. Thank you so much, and everybody take care. God bless, and everybody be nice to each other.
Thank you all.